Hello, welcome. So today we're going to be looking at r/TrueOffMyChest. I think this one is going to be infuriating by the title. If I have time for more than one story, I will read it, but this does look like a long one. So get comfortable. It looks really annoying, but also really juicy. So if that sounds like your cup of tea, then stick around and enjoy. So this one is titled, "My husband doesn't see how his work wife is trying to destroy our marriage." Oh dear. I can see a fight happening. I, 31F, am at my wit's end with my husband, 32M, co-worker Sarah, 30F, and his complete inability to see what's happening. I'm not usually one for Reddit, but I need to know if I'm going crazy here. Where do I even start? 3 years ago, my husband Mark started working with Sarah. At first, I tried to be welcoming. I invited her to our barbecues, included her in our group outings, and genuinely tried to be friendly. Big mistake. She spent the entire time making backhanded comments about everything from my career. "Oh, you're just a yoga instructor? Just a yoga instructor? My goodness, have you seen how bendy they are? And how fit and healthy and just not me they are?" I don't have the balance. I fall over, stood still. How peaceful. To my cooking. "I guess not everyone can master basic seasoning." Oh, piss off, Sarah. I already don't like you. The real problem is that Mark thinks she's just being funny. Mark, are you stupid? Are you a little bit dense, Mark? 'Cause what the hell? Like, just from those two comments alone, it screams bitchy vibes. Last month, she literally threw away the anniversary mug I gave him because it clashed with the office aesthetic. When I got upset, Mark said I was being too sensitive and that Sarah just has high standards for office decor. Yeah, sure she does. It was a mug with our wedding photo on it. I'd have been finding the next mug available and slinging it in their general direction. Here's some greatest hits from Sarah. She scheduled a mandatory work dinner on our anniversary. She convinced Mark not to take a promotion because it would mean working with a different team. Oh, boo-hoo. She posts daily photos of them together with hashtags like work power couple and work spouse. She tells everyone at their office that she takes better care of him than she does. Oh my goodness, them's fighting words. She changed his coffee order and now tells everyone she trained him right. The worst part, my husband is completely blind to all of this. Yesterday, he actually told me how Sarah had said our new house, which we spent months searching for, was charming in a starter home kind of way. He repeated this while laughing. Yeah, I feel like Mark does not have two brain cells to rub together, bless him, because how could he not see that even if she's not trying to cause a problem in their marriage, which to me, this screams of someone trying to worm their way in and cause a problem, if nothing else, she clearly has it out for his wife, and he's just like, hee, she's so funny. What's the betting? She's just like pretty. She's not funny, she's just pretty, Mark, and you're dumb. I tried talking to him about it, but Sarah has convinced him that I'm just insecure. She's managed to insert herself into every aspect of our lives. They text constantly, even on weekends. She knows his schedule better than I do. She's rearranged his entire desk and office wardrobe. What? Because his style was too suburban husband. Yeah, she is definitely trying to cause a rift. That's what he is. Exactly. He is a husband, Sarah. Go and find your own. Those things take far too long to train. Don't steal someone else's. They've done all the hard work. Last week, I suggested marriage counselling. He looked genuinely confused. He, of course, went and talked to Sarah about it. I found out from another co-worker that she's been telling people that Mark and I are going through a rough patch, and that she's just being a good friend by giving him someone to talk to. We weren't going through anything until she started this nonsense. Not just her though. Mark and his 2 brain cells also have caused these problems because he is either too dense or unwilling to put a stop to her constant bitchiness towards his wife. The breaking point, I stopped by his office to surprise him with lunch. I know, but it was his birthday and Sarah was supposedly out sick. Guess who was there? Sarah. She'd miraculously recovered and bought him a cake that said, "To my work, hubby," with a photo of them from the office holiday party. This woman is deranged. She saw me and said, "Oh, Amy, you came too. How nice. Mark, you didn't tell me your real wife was coming." Ah! Shut up, Sarah. This woman's annoying me. I'm not crazy, right? This woman is trying to destroy my marriage, while my husband stands there grinning like it's all some big joke. No, he's standing there grinning like an idiot, my love, while the mouse turns the wheel inside his cavernous hole he calls a skull. What do I do? Divorce seems extreme, but I'm running out of options here. Yeah, I mean, this is mad disrespectful. Like I say, at the very least, Sarah is just being a massive knobhead, and the husband is just sitting there grinning and allowing it. At the worst, Sarah is trying to cause them to break up so that she can get her grubby little mitts in there. Both options are abhorrent, and that is not how you work. Respect other people's marriages. And I bet any money this poor OP has been going out of their mind thinking, oh my God, am I just being really jealous? Am I looking into this too hard? Am I being silly? Because you do. Because if you are a good person, you don't think that people would do these kinds of things. But also, live long enough and you find out that a lot of people aren't good people, unfortunately. TLDR, my husband's work wife is actively trying to sabotage our marriage while he remains completely oblivious to her obvious manipulation. Edited to add, I should have stated that the promotion wasn't one that would increase his salary, but his title. I mean, that doesn't really sound like a worthwhile promotion to me, unless you want it with a view of leaving that company and going somewhere else and be like, look, I did this. That was my title. But why do I have a feeling that Sarah would genuinely lock him in a basement before she let him leave the company? It would give him more leadership experience. It still blows my mind that he turned it down. Oh, okay. My brain cells aren't quite working either. I clearly have a little mouse on a wheel in my cavernous hole of a skull as well today. Don't judge me, okay? It's half term, the kids are off school, and it's been a week and I feel like I'm going insane. I think it's quite okay that I've lost quite a few brain cells this week. It's also been raining every day. Okay, so I get it now. He turned it down to stay with her. Oh, suspicious. So let me read that again with that context. It still blows my mind that he turned it down just so he could stay on the same team as her. Crazy. I mean, if he had said, look, I'm not going to take the promotion because literally I just get a nice title and a lot of extra work, but for no extra money, sound understandable. But because he did it to stay on the same team as her, I'm like, nay, you are not making your wife feel any better about this whole situation. Edited to add, I should have told the mug story in its entirety. She accidentally broke the mug. I noticed it was gone when I was visiting him one day, and I asked him about it. He said she accidentally knocked it over, and then later he repeated a joke, air quotations I am using right now, she made about how it didn't fit the office aesthetic. Yeah, just like my cats. Just like my cats will knock a mug off the side and stare at me in the eye and be like, oops, it was an accident, bitch. It's given the same vibe, you know? Then down in the comments, forwardmost 1933 says, "You have a husband problem. Go to counselling and get professional help to communicate your concerns. Remind him that he's married to you, not Sarah, so her opinion shouldn't matter when it comes to your marriage. Good luck, but be prepared for the worst." And then Late Butterfly 5997 says, "Yeah, this guy isn't oblivious. He's complicit. He knows what's happening and he likes the attention. He is happy to let his girlfriend disrespect his wife." Yeah, I mean, if he isn't complicit, my goodness. I would love to be that level of oblivious. I wouldn't be so anxious all the time. And then we have an update. Update, my husband doesn't see how his work wife is trying to destroy our marriage. Hi, I31F posted a few days ago. I really didn't expect my post to blow up the way it did. I got so overwhelmed by all the comments that I haven't responded to any. Oh my god, I totally get that. I totally get that. I'm terrible at responding to comments. I mean, you've probably noticed. I tend to respond like 2 or 3 days later. Because I'm one of them people who gets very socially awkward and anxious just all the time. Even on socials, it's ridiculous. And I'm like, I don't know how to respond to comments without thinking I'm going to sound like a twat. So then I overthink it and I just don't for a little bit until I'm feeling a bit less anxious. I want to address everyone who says it's fake. I understand why you think that, but this is my personal hell. I only listen to Reddit stories on TikTok, but when this reached its boiling point, I just needed a place to talk. So I made an account and tried to yell into the void. Well, the void turned out to be less empty than I thought. Yeah, I mean, the internet is one of those, isn't it? Sometimes you can go on a forum and be like, "Hey, I have this problem. Anyone got any advice?" And you'll get like no replies. And then other times you could be like, "Hey, I have this problem. Can I get some advice?" And you'll have thousands of replies. Now, to why everyone is here. The update. Before I talked to my husband, 32M, I decided to do some investigation. I started with his phone and read all the messages between him and Sarah. She badmouthed me a few times, he did nothing to defend me, but didn't engage either. She was flirty, he wasn't really flirty back. They talked a lot, and he praised her frequently for her work ethic and intelligence. Oh, and I bet you she loved that and lapped it right up. I mean, what kind of bloke does not stick up for his missus when some bird from the office is bad-mouthing her? I didn't see anything about cheating. I checked his email, nothing. I checked his work email, nothing. I looked through our other devices, nothing. I searched high and low for a second phone, nothing. Everything I found was always dancing that line. Nothing was outright cheating. But here are the things that I found that did hurt my feelings. He has lunch with her, and only her, every day in the office. I mean, if this is not an actual affair, it's got to be down the emotional affair route now, hasn't it, really? They don't really like anyone else. Sarah just seems wholly unlikable, so maybe she just can't make friends. So they'll criticize others and say, "Let's talk more at lunch. They're serving XYZ today." He'd say things like, "I'm sure if you were a wife, you would XYZ. He always kept it as a wife and not my wife, but still upset me. Yeah, what? What a weird thing to say. She admitted to breaking the mug on purpose. Wow. He didn't get upset with her. Mark, do you need to go and give your head a wobble, my love? I think you do. Just said, yeah, the photo gifs are kind of corny." I confronted him. I laid it all out, and while he wasn't upset, he did try to brush things off. He said I was being sensitive and overreacting. I told him if we didn't have a real conversation about this, I would file for divorce. That got his attention, and he sat down with me. He admitted that at first he found it odd that Sarah was trying so hard. He saw her trying hard with all the men in the office. Makes sense. The more attention she gave him, the more he enjoyed it, and the more he responded. The more attention she gave, until she just had her sights on him. He knew some of the other men were envious, and he liked that too. Oh, so he wants his ego stroking. Oh, the little baby needs his ego stroking. He admitted that eventually he just got too deep, but had gotten addicted to the attention and didn't want her to move on to another man, so he indulged her sometimes at my expense. He said it was just nice to have two women in the two major parts of his life, stating that he knew we'd rarely see one another, so what was the harm? If that doesn't scream at least emotional affair, I don't know what does, and if he hasn't realised that that's what that is, how? Literally how? At this point, it's willful ignorance. He reiterated that he never ever physically cheated with her, but admitted it could be called an emotional affair. No, it is, Mark. It is. It was painful. I won't hide that. I mean, really painful. Like, I wasn't enough. I told him from this point on he needed to stop communicating with Sarah and ask to be transferred or switch jobs altogether. Now, folks, I mean it when I tell you this. He lost his shit. He began raising his voice, saying things like, he never cheated. It was all above board. You can't have your cake and eat it, Mark. And I couldn't control who he talked with at work. He called me a narcissist and a control freak. He told me I had no idea how hard it was, how much stress he had in the office, and that his personal relationship with Sarah helps a lot. Taking it away would just damage his mental health. You don't need a work wife, Mark. You need therapy. That's what you need. If your mental health is hanging on to Sarah by a shoestring, you need therapy. It got so bad that I started crying. I couldn't take it anymore and decided to leave. I packed a small bag and called my mother-in-law. She's the only family I have here. I gave her a rundown of what was going on and she offered her home to me. Oh my goodness, a nice mother-in-law? I am shocked. On Reddit, of course, because normally the only mother-in-law stories you hear on Reddit, they're all awful. I'm staying here and just hoping my husband calms down so we can revisit this. I want to work it out. I love him more than anything. I will try harder to answer comments on this post, and I will definitely update if something new happens. This has been really therapeutic and makes me feel less alone. TLDR, I confronted my husband about his work wife and he lost it on me. Now I'm staying with mother-in-law. And down in the comments of the update, different ad 383 says, well, I kind of figured he wasn't that clueless. This is full-blown emotional affair. From experience, things will only escalate. They are in bed together. Yeah, even if it's not physically yet, they are definitely in bed together in their heads, I think. Protect your peace because he sure doesn't give a damn about your feelings. Stay strong. Yeah, definitely doesn't. Toga Sucks says, jumped right from admitted it could be called an emotional affair to he began raising his voice saying things like he never cheated. Yeah, red flag, red flag, red flag. OP made a valiant effort, but it doesn't seem like this marriage can be saved. I mean, not unless the husband decides to really, get a grip and realize what is going on. And then we have another update, which I had to really hunt for, by the way. This was really hard to find because I could see people kind of like giving a sort of vague reference to a third update. And I was like, where the hell is it though? Because it wasn't in TrueOffMyChest. I had to search the username of the person who posted it and I finally found it. It was just randomly under their username. I don't even know where they'd posted it, whether it was a comment or what. I have no idea. But we have it, so that's great. Well, I'm back. First, I want to address some of the negative comments. To all the people saying they're Team Sarah, who the hell would be Team Sarah? And hoping Sarah and my husband got together. I even saw a nasty comment saying Sarah and my husband would be the office power couple. How could you sit here and say nothing's going on? You claim my husband didn't cheat and I'm being crazy, yet in the same breath wish they would get together. You're contradicting yourself, because deep down you know something romantic was developing. Now for the update. My husband came to mother-in-law's house. She didn't call him. He knew I was there because I told him, and he said he wanted to talk. Some big things happened in a short time. He wanted to explain. According to my husband, after I left, he started to reflect. He did call his mum and they had a long talk. I didn't know any of this. She asked him if he was happy with me, and he said yes, but I made him extremely happy. Then what's the problem? I was a good wife and a great partner. Yeah, so why let Sarah absolutely shit on someone who you say is a good wife and a good partner? Like, why would you not stick up for that person then? This is kind of when it all sank into him that he was being juvenile for wanting attention from another woman. I did ask him why he always brushed things off and never took action before. He said he couldn't explain it. It just felt good. He assured me he never wanted to sleep with her and never advance things that way. It was just nice having someone around who was fawning over him like a fan. I mean, it's all good and well saying it's nice to have someone fawning over me like a fan, but when they're disrespecting your partner, that's too far. Like, if he has someone at work that's just like, oh, Mark, you're so clever. Oh, Mark, you're so handsome. And, he's getting a bit of an ego boost from that. But he's making sure that she knows that there is a limit and that he is not interested in her. I mean, people do that every day. There's not that much harm in it as long as he makes sure that she knows he is not interested and he's not leaving his wife. Whatever, it is what it is. But the fact that he just sat there and let this woman full on disrespect his wife, no, Mark, you are not a good boy. For those who said he didn't know what an emotional affair was and was just agreeing with me, you were right. He admitted he didn't really understand what an emotional affair was, but after looking it up, he agreed that's what it was, though unintentional. He said he didn't want to lose his friend, so he just went along with a lot of what she did. He admitted he was deep into a fog, but me leaving and this conversation with his mum was the one thing that brought him out of it. He said he didn't want to fight. My husband is big on giving me space, so when I left, he didn't chase after me because he thought it would be best for us to just cool down and think about this and hopefully come back and discuss it more rationally. Yeah, do you know what? I am a big supporter of if you are having a rocky time and someone needs to be out of that situation, they need to take themselves away for a little bit, they need to gather their thoughts, they want some time to themselves, let them go. If it's meant to be and you are meant to be together, it will come back together. But quite often, when you are stuck between the same four walls and you're angry and you're annoyed with each other, it's extremely difficult to bring that vibe back to being okay for some people. Some people can, and that's great. Some people need a bit of space, though, to get some clarity. And I think that's a good thing to allow. I think a healthy relationship will allow that space for clarity and some emotional time to think. Like, I know some people are very sort of against that whole thing. No, you should never leave. You should stick around and just fight it out and keep going and talking and talking and talking until it resolves. But some people just can't. They need a bit of space. And I think that's a good thing. I think it's a healthy thing. He did reach out to Sarah, though they didn't meet in person. They had a phone call. He told her they couldn't remain as close, that their out-of-office texts and calls needed to stop, that he would get a replacement mug and she wasn't to touch it, and that they needed to cut back on their lunches. He wanted to handle this before talking to me, to show he was serious. Sarah didn't take it well. She started berating me, saying I was forcing him to do this. My husband stopped her and said no. He was doing this because his marriage was important. He admitted letting things go too far, but clarified he had no romantic interest in her. He told her if she had feelings for him, she needed to distance herself immediately. Sarah ended up ruining their friendship herself. Though my husband was willing to maintain a more distant friendship, her comments about me and him, claiming she'd never want him and that everything she did was because she knew we weren't meant to be together and that she was trying to open his eyes. What, are you a marriage counsellor now, Sarah? What? He said he couldn't believe he'd never seen how vindictive and awful she was. She was almost venomous. It didn't end well. Yeah, and I will bet pound to a penny that she definitely wanted Mark. And that is why she lashed out and was like, I didn't want you anyway. It's like the nice guy 360, but in woman form. After handling that situation, he came to see me, wanting to ensure I knew he understood and was taking the proper steps. He said we could do whatever I needed. I know some of you will say I'm wrong, that divorce is the only option because he had an emotional affair. I'm sorry to disappoint, but I'm not divorcing my husband. I told him that we needed counselling for the both of us. Yes, going through all his devices, emails, and texts might have been extreme. He agreed it felt like a breach of privacy, but understood given the circumstances. Oh, absolutely, because the thing is, we're reading this all within half an hour so far video. This would have been happening day after day while Mark was at work, and I'm assuming for months, because it takes a while to build up a friendship. So this isn't just something that's come on out of nowhere and OP's just decided to really take a disliking to a new friend. This would have probably been over months, and OP's been sitting there with it, and it's been niggling at them, and you get to a breaking point, don't you, where you're like, I don't know what to believe anymore. I feel like I'm going crazy. I need to look and find out for myself, because Mark wasn't being bloody helpful, was he? So I completely understand why OP turned to that. I don't believe in checking your partner's device most of the time, but with something like this where OP just didn't know what to do for the best and they needed some confirmation that they weren't going stir bloody crazy, I get it. I do get it. I told him we both needed to work on things. As of right now, I guess you could say that we're separated. We're not staying in the same house. We're going to attend counselling. I don't want to just jump back into things with him. I don't want it to seem like it was okay to make me feel like I was the second option, to ignore all those red flags and brush me off. This has to be worked on. I'm leaving his mother's house and staying with a friend. I'm not sure if anyone's going to want an update after this. Sorry, it's so anticlimactic. Sorry, it's the typical, oh, you just got back together. I mean, it isn't. But it is. I love my husband. I know he loves me. I don't think everything is an end-all be-all. Yes, it's a terrible situation. Yes, he did a terrible thing. But I want my marriage to last, so we're giving it another go. Yeah, and divorces are expensive, so why not work on it? I genuinely hope this is my last update. But if it's not, you will all know. Thank you for all the messages, all the support, everything. It really has been a huge help. Yeah, I think that is so fair. Like, obviously, OP's not going to just throw their marriage down the drain when clearly Mark is a little bit of the village idiot here. He genuinely was that oblivious. Oh, how nice to live in such la-la land. Like, obviously, yeah, his behavior was shitty in the way he didn't stick up for his wife. And he obviously was reveling in the attention, which, I mean, is a little sketchy when you're married to revel in the attention of another woman. But I do know that sometimes people just have those silly kind of friendships with the opposite sex where they are all just like, oh, you're great, you're amazing. Do you know what I mean? And it's nothing untoward. It's just a friend that boosts your ego without any nefarious intentions, if that makes sense. I get that. Some people have that. I wouldn't like that, but some people have that, and it's neither here nor there, is it really? But the fact that he let Sarah full on disrespect, badmouth, bitch, break things that his wife had got him, given him, done for him, just things about his wife in general, he crossed a big line there. And that is going to take the time and the counselling to get over, I think, for the OP. Because that is a kick in the ass, isn't it, really? And then down in the comments, Enio Must says, I'm glad that you're not going through the typical Reddit divorce him route. This is real life with real people and real feelings you have to see if you can work through. This is marriage. It's tough sometimes. When you go through shite like this, you go through shite like this together. Now, if he had a physical affair with her, then yeah, divorce him. But since he didn't, it's more nuanced than that. And you know what? I would like to hear an update, because if things do or don't work out, I want to see you living your best life with or without him. In the end, you'll be coming out stronger than you did your first post. Edit. Also, I agree with the other posters. You need to tell your husband that distant friendship isn't good enough, that no friendship is the only thing on the table. If he won't agree to that, then maybe divorce is the only option left. Absolutely, because Sarah literally admitted she wanted to make them break up. You know, Sarah needs to go completely. And I absolutely would endorse that. I would. But yeah, I'm glad they didn't decide just to completely split up, because, yeah, it's one of those cases where it's the first time it's happened. Mark seemingly has just been a bit thick. And not the, oh my God, you've got a lovely peachy bum vibes. No, the, oh my God, is your brain okay kind of vibes. So, you know, he's just apparently not seen through staring. And if OP can give him a chance to prove himself and not have to do all the divorce bullshit, then yeah, absolutely. And then the OP replies to that saying, I know a lot of people have been saying this, but you have to understand. My husband still has to work with Sarah. Yes, he could quit his job, but finding another job takes time. So as of now, he has to work with her. So when I said he wanted to maintain a distant friendship, I was meaning that he wanted things to be cordial at work. So he didn't just outright cut her off. We had a very long conversation about it, and I should have added it into my updates, but I didn't. When I mentioned saying distant friendship, it wasn't him saying I'm not cutting her off. It was, I don't want this to turn into a big thing at work, so I'm going to do this and gradually go ahead and set hard boundaries, and then slowly we'll just drift apart because I'll start pulling away. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but that was his thought process. I mean, I get his thought process, but you don't have to be friends with someone to work with them. Ask me how I know. Okay, on that note, we're going to leave it there for today. Well, that was a roller coaster and a half now, wasn't it? I just hope the OP ends up well, whatever happens, because they deserve it. If you made it all the way to the end, then I appreciate you very, very much. If you liked it, give a like and subscribe. It helps you find your way back here. And then, yeah, I'm going to be getting off. I am currently, you should see me now, I'm currently sat. My hair is barely long enough to tie up now. I've been growing it out after I damaged it with bleach and dye and all sorts. I like to colour my hair all sorts of colours, like really bright colours, and apparently my hair does not agree that this is something we should be doing. So it's really short, and it's currently in like the weirdest little knot on the top of my head. It looks ridiculous, but it was doing my head in. No pun intended. I'm sat in Halloween pajamas. My glasses, they are disgustingly dirty right now. I can see my own fingerprints all over them. It's been one of them days, okay? So, what I'm trying to say is, I need to go to bed. But whatever you're doing for the rest of your day, I hope you have a good one. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.